Hi everyone, I'm Anna Lakir, and today we are here with Akwal Philip, and I'm so excited because, first of all, this is the U-Turn. U-Turn, if you don't know what it is, this is a platform where we talk about youth empowerment, women empowerment through storytelling, interviewing, and spotlighting people who are affecting change in their community. Up until recently, we have interviewed people who could show up on the page and answer questions, tell us about what they've done, and other stuff. We started this leadership series because empowering youth and empowering women means uh, you know giving them lessons and making sure they take agency, they take leadership, they take control of what their future is going to be like. And that's why I'm excited. We're going to start off by talking about Professor or Dr. Wangari Maathai. We're going to reflect on her leadership. We'll reflect on our own leadership and definitions of leadership, what that means. I want you to come along with an open mind and with your own reflection of what leadership means to you personally, what you observe as a good leadership. Because it's one thing to say this leader has failed, it's another to recognize this leader has succeeded. And what is your metric of success? So, Wangari is the inspiration of this first episode of this series because she embodies advocacy, grassroots advocacy, impact. She can show what a leader is, not talk about how she is a leader. And that's very inspiring for me. I'm going to start off with explaining who Wangari Maathai is. I grew up in Kenya for about 15 years of my life. I spent there. And Kenya has amazing leaders. One of them, and my favorite, is Wangari Maathai. Wangari is well known for being the first woman that won a Nobel Peace Prize. And she is the first African woman to earn a doctorate degree. So she studied in Kenya, in the US, and then moved back home. Her area of studies is biology, and she was a doctor. She became a doctor for animals, a vet. Later on, she did a U-turn. She didn't just go and study being a doctor and continue practicing until the last of her days. Wangari made the first U-turn by, recognizing that preserving environment or talking about environment or what are the things that are eroding our environment start from a start from our own natural resources. And my favorite story that she told at one of her interviews is about how she said Christianity is, ever growing in East Africa and replacing the African traditions. And she was referring when she was teaching women about the Greenbelt movement. We'll come to it. She was teaching women saying, in the very first Genesis, when God created the world, He didn't create human beings first. He created the environment. He created the land, the water, the forest, other animals. On the last day, man was created. And what was the point of that? For the man and woman and the children of God to be custodian of the environment. So Wangari Maathai philosophy, I might be wrong, is if we want people to thrive, we have to take care of the environment, the land. The people who pay the most price due to the climate erosion are people who are not benefiting the most from it. People are in the village, their river has dried up, their wells have dried up, and they go long distances to get water. Their indigenous plants have been cut down, and they have vast lands that is being used to mass produce things that can be sold. So at first she was about biodiversity, and then she realized politics really affect everything because from inspiring women to just go and plant trees, people felt threatened. People in power felt threatened. They could not believe a woman could gather other women, and plant trees and make a living out of it, aka the Green Belt movement. So she later made another U-turn into political advocacy, and one of the things she did as an activist is demonstrate at the Huru Park with women whose husbands or sons have been prisoners of war. When Kenya was at war, people who were considered threat to the government were put in jail. So she demonstrated. They went on a how do you call it when people go for long without eating? Rhoda, help
Hunger
me.
strike.
Hunger strike. She went on hunger strike with the women who were protesting the freedom of their husbands, sons that were under the regime, I think, of Mwai Kibaki. So today, I want us to take from those lessons. I want us to, um, you know, define what leadership mean for you. Up until recently, I considered myself not political until someone said, you know what? We all interact with government. We do government relation one way or the other. It's just that some people are passive, others are active. And how you decide to be a passive or active really affects you. You may think it doesn't, but it does. And I'm going to pass it over to Akwal Philip to share a little bit about, what I just talked about and this series and why it's exciting. Thank you, Rhoda.
No, thank you so much. And really, what really excited me about this idea of U-turn leadership series and talking about transformative leaders, Simon Wangari Maathai, is the lesson that we learn from their journeys. As you mentioned, Lakir, Wangari Maathai, even at time in the context of South Sudan, I think agerugum, kena agerugum nong, opportunities here and the Nobel Prize win. But I think that she is really that woman who is disruptive, courageously disruptive. Imagine, but East Africa, Central Africa, like that time, women, these are 40s, by the way, and that time, cultural feminism, uh, she embodies our African style of feminism, which is really something that which is within our culture, right? And she used it to effect change. She knew that women were powerful, Lakir. And that is, when she started her activism and green belt movement, that simple of idea of planting a tree, it's something that is simple, making and how she made it a global movement and rally other women and marginalized women, like women who can think of my because of political issues and everything. Join out with them, young people who yeah, think that future then she joined with them. She leveraged that political equity and transformative community centered activism. And something kind of mentioned in Alakir, which I'm very excited about, is the idea, culture then, in Africa in general, rule on there, or, I carry you a bit naked. So one thing that she did during Uru Park, ko jala rir tinu manin jala one girlfriend do or any political rallies lo tinu e chia kuma Kenya e kor bi yeke jamarat. There was a big project e kor bi and Wangari led group of women and youth to go and protest in that field. And I led a dog to Lonyoko, Diaren, you know. I don't. I think if I run a Gen Z one, you don't know the culture and background. But think naked, I think Sura better would dumb viral.
That
But
is very inspiring. You know what?
yeah,
Um, one of my ideas is to, protest in
yeah,
Juba one day, naked.
yeah,
It's not funny. It's not funny because Nigeria team
yeah.
Range Kabin, whose family members made a sacrifice for us to have a country. Buku nang bai ni kula chin grich chin 1 pound chicken chin 1 pound. There was kira maokina chiloi, right? Koi maokina ake chika ya dang one. But diar chena rur kan ga to tong who can ko That, when I think about it, make me want to go. Don't know what park is there in Juba and undress Kuyad Keo. Because that's the only way they will listen. Anyway, continue, Malish.
Well, I like that. I think the generation terroir will see the value, but take a call on get the jaga to the next level. Even it's a form of activism here, dear Dolo, Nachi, young cake, yellow, Yako, Kwan, your kill, okay? And one of the contemporary leader who used that strategy actually, I think, political activist, I think Gandhi is actually Stella Nyanzi. Maybe at all, like you might have heard about it. She does a lot of activism online. On
Stella is
Myanmar,
my favorite.
yes, too.
I
Uh,
follow her.
okay, that's it. So that lady, it's my Museveni because yeah, Puma, yeah, dominate and they don't like it. Go to house again. Now, Jelar Conum, go call a dog, go call a job. And then she also got another opportunity. She will allow and when she arras ngadi Juba airport. Kwa na jelar huni ene benela jam tin ke rore ke kato would it and said, well, want to tell you misbehave. Ki ni diar okay security women to go and deal with you. Now you more you security men to go and deal with you. So what happened? This lady was taken. I think DR security, so she was taken by the security people, and that story went viral. And she was like, "Where are we, man? It's a boy. I was going to Babu Tamtish. You know, Tamtish." And she start fucking their things. So they're going to be. I feel me, so what I'm trying to say here in Alakir is that when we look at some of these leaders, these disruptive leaders, what they do really, they use all the tools in the arsenal. And that's what I've learned from Wangari Maathai and someone like Stella Nyanzi. Like, what kinetic, what power do you have over, to make change the job before without, uh, rooting your activism in the cultural context. Because na those things you nom yin later panakim lay yen well bin kanom la because actually culture is bad. But in the context talk, I think there are some cultural skills or some cultural intelligence that you apply to pass your information. And so what I realized, she believed that change start at the grassroots. So that's the first lesson I learned from her leadership,
Mm-hmm.
mobilizing women and also educating young people. So she's actually doing like setting a vision of future beyond and inspiring young people to work with her, to see her in action, teaching them skills real time, and empowering youth because the next generation, there's nothing that we can do. Who you tend and who and we are not bringing up young people that now look age out, we can lose this vision, we will continue. So she's that person who believes in a young leadership that is passed on to the next generation that doesn't die with her. That's really powerful. And 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 the idea of making people take agency, taking power. Sometimes why you jarere kirna chi ja na bala lui protest ku chila mai ke yin che pidu achario. But sometimes you give up to get something. I can keep then get purely. That's what I've learned from leadership as well. uh,
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I agree with you, Paul, and you were just talking about that agency. Being comfortable with being the odd one. And Wangari is the one to challenge the norm, right? It started at the very young age when she was sent to school. She was sent to school, and despite that, she had brothers. And the African traditional context where people believed and people tried to stop her mother and father from sending her to school. They said, you know what? She's just going to end up, getting married and bearing children. Why do you waste your resources sending her to school? And she lived her life to prove a point to those people that sending her to school was not a waste, right? So Wangara is I will in very disruptive. Kachikaloi pide ijiben we could talk all day and all night. But my favorite one story that is very associated with Wangari is the story of the hummingbird. It's the story of the hummingbird, and she lived her life like a hummingbird, like from the very beginning until the very end. This story Japanese, Nairan Kuchen, I'll recap it quickly. Nairan page Ben, what jam about leadership? What kind of leadership is exemplary? It's rooted in advocacy, in action, it's grassroots. And the person we're talking about today, Ran Jemoge Etinge Wangari Maathai. Now, Kuchen, Narere Kenya, you might know about her. Nachito Kenya, please look her up. She started the Green Belt movement. She won a Nobel Peace Prize, went on world stages, invited into different communities to advocate for environment. And in all her two things are always mentioned when Wangari is speaking. That Africa is resource rich, that people that don't have the resources are actually the owners and the owners of the land, and people who are benefiting. And she would gladly call out equality. She will call out the United Nations, the biggest contributor to environmental decline and deterioration, and how the resources are being extracted and people are left with nothing. So she told the story of the hummingbird. It's a Japanese story. A hummingbird is a very tiny bird. Akwe chola di tongijin. Kadang. Din tina. Alwela roka chidong. Awen chirok jadong. Chijalon niya red mach kuto. Lai ke bena toten. Go hummingbird go jal kule aning lake nearby. Elo kule pule kaluma tong tinen kubuku ngot cake. Piu ku ngot cake, piu ku ngot cake. I want kala you dol. Yung yin go no ke chin ke bakun. Like yung yin choki la pule ben. Like a bay. Golo, I'm doing the best I can. You know, in life, some of us are hummingbird. And when I say hummingbird in terms of resources, position, status, all that, whatever you do, nobody will pay attention to you if you are a hummingbird, or you even get mocked. If you are an elephant with a big trunk could have carried more water, but what does the elephant choose to do? You know, be in the group mentality and laugh at the hummingbird for doing something. So, at the in her career, Wangari, she has gone through a lot of challenges: divorce, threats, political exile. But she did not choose a different path. She instead took the U turn. Instead of retreating, she turned adversity into action. And then her hummingbird metaphor became her promise: I will do the best I can. I will do the best I can. And that's the message that is resonating with us at the U turn. Do the best you can. You might not have the money, to pull people out of poverty. Build their mindset. Talk to them. Let them open up their worldview. Bring education to your village. This is the concept how within. So that's the central piece of the story. Another thing I admire about Wangari that is very unconventional leadership and leadership that is disruptive is her choosing her audience and people to bring along with her. Wangari chose women. She chose women because she knows women truly value the well-being of community. And women are actually the pillars holding together the community. Ache diar ache kaben mani. Ache Greenbelt documentation ke and strategy and all that ache be translate to the local language. She brought the knowledge from the United States, from the Nairobi, whatever, to the village. In her own village, where she used to go and fetch water at the river to help her mother, that when she came back, it was dried up. She came to organize Kenokokin and sit with them and affect change where she knows it's gonna take effect. So che ja ti to ko yongo na diar ke in ka bijam kene ke. Kunaruti. Golwell, women mindset DR is very cake idea mitken, and these people are the most caring about the future. What will happen to their children and the children of their children if they don't do something right now? And that message resonates with every single mother, every single woman to go out there and plant. I don't know how many millions of plants she ended up planting, In Kenya, she preserved a lot of indigenous plants, and biodiversity is what she stands for. And if biodiversity can be preserved, maybe diversity in general can be preserved. People can be equally valued, people can be equally treated, people can be given basic human right, regardless of which part of the world they come from, right? So, and she recognized the power of women, and she lived and showed them kulwelwe diara dog, you know, it's repeating itself. Kitchen ye dol kala sukuli kulu yes kul bin ngoloy na chak kwen well man du chak kwen ko bin chito. She said no. Went ahead, got a PhD. Went ahead and became a leader in an unconventional way. She later on joined the parliament and advocated for changes that will, support the movement. But I just wanted to recognize the fact that she knows the power of women, and that's why the U-turn we are all about empowering women. If you educate a woman or a culture, you educate the community. If it's a man, well, there's a chance you educate just a man. So her grassroots approach to leadership is the most admirable. Like we can talk about um, different world leaders, but I think Wangari stands out in the way she does leadership, in the mobilization, in the way she's very close to the cause, very close to the people, very close to everyone, and the message is very consistent. I listened to almost all of her interviews. She has very consistent messaging. As a marketing person, I have to give it up for her. Very smart woman.
And she did do marketing and a
Yeah.
era of social media on so that she can even use ChatGPT to get some insight. This is original person. And just imagine, like when I was just thinking about Wangari Maathai in the context of our today discussion, right now we talk about, the planet, this green thing about the climate change. She started the conversation of climate change in the 60s when people were talking about war, about human rights, advocacy, about people were in different era. But she was looking 100 years later, like, that at some point in life, maybe Kenya be a dry country. Abichen Pew and livelihood Kenya Abria at some point, like maybe 100 years, 1,000 years later, tell you imagine that kind of future thinking, that hope driven future visionary leadership, that you see be like 10 generation ahead of you, that climate change will be an issue. And right now, all the leaders of the world are talking about climate change when Greenbelt movement started long time ago and thrived in the 70s when they were not even thinking about. If I think about her life and just imagine what if it's been US on for scholarship, it was a Kennedy scholarship hand program. And no, God, we can there are so many African leaders, some of them, America, who are you don't want to go and hustle in a dry, Africa country, to colonial, administration. Like at that time, Africa was in development. They just got out of colonization and they were left in darkness. And then yes, this brilliant woman, this visionary leader, who said, well, no river between no much river between na ko our set book during our time Queen walking and the river between talk about the history Kikuyu, no, a small land called Makuyu. And it talk about the colonialism and how it came and how it changed the livelihood of Kikuyu people. And there is a protagonist was advised by his father that go Lord, do kawaja, do ka mandu, learn their ways. Lord bakala queen, lum ka pieten, kuloka be binin ke pando, be ju ku palkara. So I don't know at the time, I don't know at the time if even Gugi Wathiong had written that book. But Wangari Maathai was already living that advice that she came here, learn the good things, and know that, ba ta na ci juira ci wur ka yana ci juira ci mar ka yana ci juira pa na e to wo tin but back home a ko londa so go U-turn bello kin bo nyu pin ku bi pir piete bo lai no chare no clean a chen ye chung ko kai ware ma le pa chen gri no chen a chu go ra ngi or lo so she didn't want to live in this clean space that I did nothing. She wanted to go back home and make a U-turn in her community. So she decided to go back. And what it teaches me personally, it challenged me even right now. To Ben, what you your who's go big go refugee, scholars, book and now how are we using that opportunity to come and learn and empower ourselves to give back to our community, right? And that's why your message in there is very comforting when you say if we don't have resources to go back and do what Wangari Maathai did, you can use whatever little hummingbird philosophy, right? But you plant the seed. Conversation, and we are donating our time to plant the seed of progress that it is possible. Someone at low, and we too can do it, right? So she went home and made difference in her community. And of course, I cannot emphasize enough when you say that she started where the impact is huge. Women, women are caregivers, custodian, even like mother nature. The nature is a mother. And when all women can get they believe in her vision and they support her and they work together. Yen ka chen Kenya right now war ka tom jala dawni te ali to pia la dibi dibi and then to na ka ja purtin. I remember one of our U10 guests ben war na e chol kwal den apur Kenya ten what if Wangari Maathai kidnap encouraging right now Kenya chatim to you in chom team kero. Emma, what do you get that conversation, girl? Get the chicken we dry up by now, right? Like other countries in East Africa that are, becoming now, half of droughts. But someone like her came and said, let's think future. Let's postpone our today pleasures so that tomorrow generation will ben be that are not coach walk and coach walk that who care about them and leave the world a better place. There's no better analogy than what is it? Leave the world a better place. Wangari Maathai, who died in 2011, left the world better and has even given us power. Well, you 10 ladies today to talk about her. What the chingu topic of today? If you talk about on kuyera loke, think a community we are you can get and not doing that while also doing the work, right? You can also be a teen community, raising your children well, doing all the good work behind the scene, but also come forward. There is room for more women to be at the front line of advocacy for change for better tomorrow. So we can do both. And I believe Wangari Martha did that, and she inspired me a lot.
Absolutely. Me too. Me too. Like, I can talk about this woman all day. Um, she truly, truly understood the value of collective action. When people come together for a common cause, if I can say, is it literally and figuratively, if two people come together to advocate for the same message, we're then a big thing, because now it's not just rantok, because ane ran biratok, right? So in my opinion, Wangari is known for planting trees, but I know she didn't just plant trees, she planted hope. She warned people about being hopeless and in despair, because this is what happened. She came to the US. She see all these scientists. She read all these papers about environment, about the climate change, about the doom that is going to happen. And they just sit there and do nothing. Like, can you imagine it? They just sit there and do nothing, writing their little papers. And she was like, it's easy to think nobody cares. It's easy to think that because the media is not talking about the group of people in sub Saharan Africa that are living in unimaginable situations, it becomes almost like normal. It's been normalized, right? And that's what happened in the West. Like, oh, you know, you're from Africa. Oh, kachirikaga, right? So she was so again, it's being hopeless and being in despair. So she is not the one who took power just to command other people. No, she took power to plant hope and to bring transformative change to the community. So you have to, which we have taken today, that planted hope in us. When I didn't know about Wangari, I've heard about her, but I've went to Huru Park, I've walked around, um, gonna win a bang, but we'll not talk about that. In Okoilo, it's very beautiful. At Kenya, go to Huru Park. She didn't just plant 50 million trees, she planted also legislation like changes the law. In Kenya right now, you have to plant 2 trees, and that is in the effort of uh, sustaining the environment. And sustainability is not just for the environment. Businesses are seeing the impact. Like if their way of doing business is not sustainable, 5, 20 decades, 3 decades from now, are they going to still be in existence? And that's the approach of, if we don't preserve the environment, Matthew, you don't have to plant a tree. I have been to Juba. That is not good for your health. Cancer, dump culture, and all that. Plastic burning is not good for your health. Nairani dear, your own health and the health of people around you, you would surely remember our of the decade pew kaba muto kabala tau tiene recycle thing. That is what it shows to take an action. It doesn't have to be 50 million trees. All you have to do is be a little hummingbird. And I take that lesson with me every day. I think about, oh, how can I help? How can I help? But not to the point of, hey, I'm just a little person over here in North America with no voice. No one will listen to me. No, Yimbo and U-turn kubuku jam, you in the same mindset. Yimbo U-turn and leave your thoughts and reflection in the comment, and we read them, and everybody else read them. You never know what kind of seed you are planting. And this takes me back to our conversation kind of quality when I was talking about being a teacher. Being a teacher, it's not just about being professionally teaching the subject matter and all that. It's about planting seed of hope, right? Koi jam or koi chinka weden chapping, and that plant a seed of hope in you, a seed of idea. Oh, I wonder what I can do with that. Koi the Utah Nakula jam about Wangari Maathai, how she cared about environment. How can I care about environment in my own way? Terera and thin yangula baloyo kula. Don't just throw trash around. Like literally, don't do that. Aquali, you are from BC. I think it's the most organized city for garbage management in BC. When I went to Ottawa and Montreal, people throw garbage bag outside. You can see black bags, but in BC they have system. There's green bin for compost. There's black bin for garbage. There's a blue bin for recycling. There's the gray bin for glass recycling, because people care about where they live, and the tourism industry will speak for what BC has done with the garbage management, and people love it. They will come here and they will look around, they will look at the mountain, they will ski. So that's the value of protecting your space, your environment, not just because, oh, but you benefit from it. When I travel, I cannot wait to come back. I am literally counting days down to come back because streets are clean over here. I go, wait, and those people did it through an organized system. So, and everybody is expected to contribute, and there are laws. You can get fined for not recycling properly. So, the green movement and people caring about the environment are not doing heritage, but that reflects on everything else you do in life. Do you care about freedom of the people? How do you exercise freedom, Pandu? Your cultural message can share without interruption. Do you welcome people to challenge your ideas? Do you value young people as thoughtful members of society? Na jamran kortana ke yin space benum luel, or do you just shut down their ideas, calling them, oh yeah, that doesn't make sense, right? So I see Wangari's leadership is less about the ego, about the status, about selling your own country for pennies, about empowering the people and making sure if these people are taken care of, they will take care of me. So there you have it. If you have any leadership you look up to, I want you to write in the comment. Write their name, write why you like that leader. For us today, One Aqua, we decided to focus on Wangari Maathai, but we have several. Stella Nyanzi is one of them, living activist. So back to you,
Thank you,
Nyanzi.
Alakir. Really, I really like that. You know, the analogy of planting hope. You know, when people think of Wangari Maathai, they think a team ke plant, ke green belt movement, ke award ke win. But they really, you know, don't see that what she did was planting hope where, you know, there was no system. Someone, barely, a high boy said that, you know, just that sometimes, you know, the system is not favoring. I agree with you. System will never be favoring because they are designed by people there who had their own vision of, you know, how the system should serve them or should serve the future. And not all of us can fit into those systems. So Wangari Maathai, Kenya had talked before her and during her time, and planting trees, idea right? No one thought about it, but she thought about it. There was no structure or system to be in backup, you know, so that she can operate within. But she was disruptive. She created the system. So when I really like it when I hit the roadblock or when I see the system is not working, and there are so many systems right now that are not working, that is an opportunity. Opportunity innovators see Wangari Maathai. You know, they see something is not working, is not favorable, they run with it, they create a new system. So she created that a new system of, you know, encouraging women to lead the planting seed movement. She create laws around that, and you know, of course, it will come at your personal expense. You will pay for it. I'm not saying creating new system or fighting to change the existing system is easy. It's not. You will go through hell before being success. Very very there. You know, now we are just talking about, you know, what she did. She had to go through hell to make the difference. And so majority of us, you know, sometimes why if you don't want to take that risk. And it is okay. You know, elwela man ariyo jen ke pira be ale man mangen kulwe ura jetiota na. So sometimes for your own, you know, self-preservation, you can try to do that. But if we all preserve ourselves, then we can progress. So you have to take risk. You have to make a U-turn, and sometimes if you do it really well, you ground it with the realities of the environment, or you can overcome a lot of things and have a great story that you leave behind the legacy. She Wangari Maathai she planted hope. Uh, she planted ideas. She planted the idea that women can lead and they can deliver. Achiela kilwel wuno dolerian sukule je loacha men nya bacha, she will not go anywhere. Clear blood and forget about everything else. But she went through all the stages que you normal human being, but it still go above and beyond to deliver a cause that is larger than herself and the whole country. So sometimes the seed that we want to, you know, that we can do, like we can follow her footsteps and go beyond what, you know, people like think of us. Sometimes you be in jala kira, but in kerinya on somewhere in chiran no go to yi or ja call people online comedy ke be dollar that dale ben doll, but I think what is really in me. So all of us, we have something big and great within us, and we just need the courage, Wangari Maathai, to make that thing come out. and not just us leading it, bring others along with us, right? Bring other people to make it a big movement. And I remember the conversation we had. I remember one of our guests who is Spotlight, actually then Garankwe, also a farmer too. I like farmers on this U10 show. There's something about farmers that there's wisdom behind, because those are the people who plant seed, who, ponakayi, kai tit ki season bidik, tit ki dear, they know the process of, by the end of the day, harvest, you have gone through all the hard work until the harvest. Bajala baby, there's some lesson in there. So then Grandpa was saying, when he was going to school again, he he was just thinking, what will I do for my country? Like all of us who are refugees one, or who back who are migrant in other people's community, countries and communities. Every one of us is always asking this question: what can I do for my community? What can I do for my people here and back home? What can I do for my country? What can I do for this continent? Someone thinking like bigger like Wangari Maathai, right? What can you do? And he said, what he can do is he want to combat hunger in South Sudan. And he created that with just that said, my job is to combat hunger. And he started and farming and now bring youth to the to help him build that vision and are currently driving away hunger. So they are in agribusiness. So as you watch U10 show today, and just reflecting about the story of Wangari Maathai, the seed, the seed to cake plant, you could grow your trees, but there's more into things to cake plant. What are you planting? Just ask yourself, what is it? What is it? Your good word, your word, the encouragement. Ye help, your idea, kiden lo iran. Yeah, something actual man bala back home activism ba political system bala challenge. Yeah, healthcare, but think that now there's maternal health and childborn a big deal in your country. How can you contribute? Water and sanitation, there is no clean water. Can you do that? Or online you are toxic and you want to cleanse our online because we have some information when because let when because get all information I chiri man mi you cham. If na a poor information he chol kata we know, then you will have poor health. If now good information that is progressive, that is future looking, that hope, encouragement and inspiring, then your body also, will respond to that. So choose your battle. And have at the U10 here, actually, our choice is to bring good information, to bring good inspiration, and share and make plant that seed, that information that may go and make a difference. Or may make a difference. It cannot be your life, but even your day. If you spend 20 minutes here with us, maybe that 20 minutes which are worth it for you. Instead, Bala spend somewhere, that might not benefit you that much. So thank you, Alakir, and I really like the lessons. Mata Karu, okay. You have got it, Mata. Okay. Mata Karu, I think you are talking about leaders. And personally, I also like Martha Karu. She's following the leadership of Wangari Maathai, also another activist that we need to dissect her life and how she is at the moment and the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to just emphasize about that message of what can I do for my people, for my community, for my country. That is the question, right? When, for example, for South Sudan, when he sent a few youth to Cuba and United States, he was sending them to go and learn and bring back the knowledge. Our own interview for WUSC is, why do you want this scholarship? I personally said, I want the scholarship. I want to go and learn something and bring it back to build my own country, to advance peace. We will we are so quick to blame, and rightfully so, but I want us not to stay too long in the blaming mindset, forgetting that you as an individual, however much systems can be powerful, you can do something. And one of the young leaders that is very vocal and actually has done something Aito Abraham Traore, I don't know how to pronounce. This man, this is not just him. This man has brought together all the people before him. And I'm talking about Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso. He says Thomas might have passed on, but his spirit lives with us and is leading from those ideas that the leaders before him, have um, have done, and what kind of ideas and what kind of seeds they have planted in their own people that are bearing fruit today. It's so easy to think, oh, I'm not that, I'm not all that, but you are. You can be whoever you are. You just have to decide and okay, this is what I want to do. I'm gonna go for it. There are so many leaders that I look up to, either alive or Achito anymore. Ellen Johnson of Liberia, one of the strongest women and leader. A lot of people look up to Nelson Mandela, Allah Salah of the South of the Sudan. So pick one person. Do a study on leadership. Pick one person you think their mindset align can in Lotwing and read about them. Watch all their videos, their interviews. Watch their conviction. All you need a conviction to move people or to move ideas or to do something for your country and for yourself. And unless we are all in a community is a weird thing. It's either we are all well off together, or we are all suffering together, right? Kuna I can yet to like literally sacrificing your neck to make sure you've done something for all of us to succeed together, then we're all not, we're not okay. The health of the environment, the health of the community, the ideas the youth follow. Um, Kenya right now is very politically active. Like the youth and the women there are very politically active. This is something you don't see in most of the countries, like comparative to Kenya. But Cake, I love it. I do protest. They will be online, on Twitter. They will call out leaders. And this is not just coming out of nowhere. It's coming out where the leaders before them have spoken up against the giants, like something, the evil or whatever you want to call it, and call them out and say, hey, what you're doing is not okay, and the land belongs to the people, and this is what we need to do, right? So when maybe next time we'll talk about Martha Karua. I don't know anybody else we can talk about, but whatever you do, whatever you choose to do or not do has an impact. It's the one thing I believe. We're all interconnected. The environment, the people, what you do affect people one way or another, and it's up to you to choose if you want that effect to make life better for all of us or make life difficult for all of us. So I invite you all. Yeah. Santino Deng say he looked up to Emery Patrice Lumumba of the Congo. Lumumba, he should look into him. Brilliant, brilliant leader. And these are people embodying and bringing people and centering the community instead of centering their selfish desires. Because it shows when you talk about something and you don't walk the walk, 100% of the time it shows. And leadership is not just about the title. I want to be the president, I want to be the vice, I want to be that. Leadership is about impact. And to be a leader, you have to inspire people. And people have to be willingly, following your ideas, right? So, Kachirikaka, they give me a lot of hope. They give me a lot of, belief that as a human being living at this day, at this age, in this era, I'm here for a reason and I get to choose whether to pursue that reason or not. So having a sense of purpose is very important. I want to say you showing up at Gola on U-turn is because you recognize that there's more than just a shell, a body in you. There's your drive to be a meaningful contributor of the society. And what that means, what meaning, what you want to contribute, you get to define it. If you cannot define it, take someone else's. Take a leader from ages ago that's still not here. Take Wangari Maathai. Go plant trees in South Sudan. Like, take that manifesto and use it. Planting a tree, trust me, it will inspire more than just an action to plant more trees. It will preserve indigenous um, trees and indigenous herbs and indigenous, like, the land operates in the way it operates because of how it has been created and has the harmony of all that. So Kilroy in the industrialization and in the world superpower and economics and whatnot is this mass production. And the mass production is literally clearing out the land, taking away all uh, the natural forest and planting things for profit, right? In the long run, that doesn't benefit anyone. It's just short run replaces people from their natural land where they live. Number two, only two or three people benefit from all this, right? And then it will be taught as, oh, this is good. The economy is gonna get better if we do this, if we do this. But I don't think that's good as long as it's not the people, indigenous people of the land leading that change. So I want to leave that with you. I'm going to give it back to Akwalku in a few minutes. We'll wrap up the show. Thank you.
Thank you, Alakir. And before you go and close the show, I really want to emphasize the point you're learning is if you are watching this U-turn conversation, or if you will go and watch it later, the message is what one thing can you do within your capacity, you know. Bin piu ko ni hummingbird bin piu ko ya le akwe ya hummingbird and the lot touchy it anyway we're calling it dear you need to you need to define it to get hummingbird I thought yeah to get one of ka win so yeah you know the thing do low you know the thing do low within your power. What is that one thing that na nien wa ko jalo young ba loy rot? Young ba loy my people, young ba loy my community, young ba loy my country, young ba loy this continent, and in this planet, to in like if you have that idea. And now Wangari Maathai that we've just studied today or that we have just honored, you know, a legacy. She said that you know planting trees, you know that is it. But and that thing, you know, she did it with passion, with commitment, with energy, with her whole life. And the impact that you want, I can't get a walk many years after Chento. So just think about yourself. What is that one thing today that Balalo, it doesn't have to be big. What I really like about her leadership here in Wangari Maathai Alakir is, you know, leadership is rooted in reflection and taking action, right? If you listen to some of her, interviews, when she often said that restoring the land begins in the mind, right? So before Ben Wang in the Trump or Google advocate for the green country, the green economy, the green planet, whatever that is. It has to start as an idea in the mind, and that is the U-turn philosophy that personal change or societal transformation begins with awareness. It has to begin with awareness, with honesty, and with intentional action, right? It can be just opening a live show or even posting a good quote. So when that consistent small action, that awareness, which you build on, no story chaping on a look and yaki rage much. Like Bangana Jala Guru, we ran out of. This is story very interesting. So yana nyare mo e mo chini an me mo je I think be got at it or mo je chema lwal ran maybe ma char ran I don't know or ye mo bor to village la mo da chi le lu way something yeah kira ge so that girl I je long nya mo nyera ja chwat pin e chol ben he did everything within his power just small intentional action how I'm going to like I'm kind of okay, so, so I think I don't know it's a yellow that is yan paneda. So I put that why? Because when you get a chua till binye, right? So when you have a thought that you continuously think about, you do something little about it, continuously persistence, it become a thing eventually. And that is, maybe Wangari Maathai didn't start, okay, a viral woman along with Nobel Prize. She started small, plan a team took a chip, betim ro Martin, betting took bella pand, maybe ke la you dong dom go la jam, tinga mark and alibi, we can join forces, bugu this movement, bugu loy. Betting the la you maybe to the team, something little by little, we grow. Them on a chin social media to create and be quite big like so that you can follow up to see if they are interested. But she did small thing, maybe meeting one person here, sharing one idea from there, and building, circle, a big long table, then a big long team can come out there, a big team can a big lot led from just small team to now big wholesale, a big like nationwide. A big galloping on Beneke. So you know like here before Banan, okay, what I'm trying to to pass is everything starts with awareness. So even our topic, reflect, you know, just reflect what can I do? Ask yourself that question consistently. And then follow with being real with yourself. What comes to you naturally? What is easy for you? You take a goal, make any na cha idea to gi nom ke ne ala ki lwe keti rande no ke de lwe no one of our U10 fan lwe this U10 thing a lot of we share opera show one day we didn't even thought about it but now we need to go and look that of opera and who discuss opera leadership how did she make as show become a big deal been an impact of law like how did she manage it we'll come and discuss review and start research and then see how we can incorporate it to our U10 framework and make sure that maybe U10 be chair at the end of the day or even more because we have learned from the best. So no idea chiranda law this having a show many people have this show they have podcasts we just do it because watching in brand new idea something kind of Lord when God so you can borrow someone else's idea do it in your own way and see what impact it may, right? Even actually with a band, but what the call to action is do something. Do something. Something belong impact bawan pinong like that. Now no meet ko miake bin velu discuss him and we walk Wangari Maathai we could discuss. So thank you and I'll take it away by conversation that you have closed.
Absolutely, Akwali. Done a brilliant job at saying your U-turn. Okay, but the other, I will borrow the words of our colleague. They told her, Query this man advocate for reading. Huh? You have to read. If you're not ready to do something, read. Like read or watch YouTube video about something you're interested in. Um, my style of learning I realized is reading stories, right? Every story back when could we reflect yung ba you think? Read. It's all I'm gonna say. Whatever you read, just make sure you read. Um, once a week, not once a week, but weekly. Choose one topic. Well, hey, I'm curious about this topic. Do everything in your power to find information about that topic. Read about it. When throughout the week, I've been reading about what Wangari. I watch all her shows, all her interviews with different media people. I watched her lecture at the when she was receiving the award. You will learn something from it. Brilliant minds are not too far from us, and now you're thinking measure it from greatness. You choose somebody that's close, right? Now, chatting Wangari Maathai or she's out of your age group. Actually, peer in a different world. The world we live in right now is not the same thing. Go ahead and pick up a book. One of we didn't do the River Between. I read the River Between. Like brilliant, brilliant Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Read about Ngugi wa Thiong'o. He is a leader in literature space. He's an advocate for literature that is based on his people. Also, I think he's from Kikuyu. Kikuyu people are brilliant. Kikuyu women even more brilliant. So read about the people of Kikuyu in Kenya. Wangari is from Nyeri. Nyeri is very close to Nairobi. I visited there. What a beautiful land they have in Nyeri. Beautiful. So I'm gonna say if you're not ready to do something, read. Like information is free. The age of internet is mind blowing how not so long ago computers were super expensive. Now everybody has a smartphone. If you have internet, you can find information, and that information will take you where you want to go. Read about, Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Read his books. The book we did, okay, that book I told The River and the Source. That is by Margaret Ogola. Brilliant Kenyan Luo woman wrote that book. Read about it. We also did a set book, HR, if you're interested in politics. There's a play, Betrayal in the City. Go read it. So many African short stories full of knowledge and wisdom that you can relate to if you're from Africa. Adjut on the internet. Just go and read them, right? Something has to be close to who you are. So talking about how I know I like storytelling and that's how I learn is reflecting on your childhood. If something can relate to how you were in your childhood, for me it was Wangari. Being asked a question about how her early childhood influenced what she wanted to do when she grew up. And Wangari shared about being brought up in a typical African household. Her father was a polygamist. Her mother was raising a lot of children, and at young age, she had to help in the house, go fetch water. Before she even turned to 15, she goes to fetch water every day. She had the curiosity. She went one day to fetch water, and then down the stream there is ini tonke agwek kake la wek wek ya. She's trying to catch. She thought it was a bead. Already a good. She tonke agwek catch it. You car bekalom. Jan begabiro kutake yet ke agwek. Later she discovered she broke the eggs, and then I think the next day when she came back there were little tadpoles. She was like, that was the moment she knew she wanted to learn about biology. She was so fascinated by the nature and how it works that she wanted to understand more about, biology of the organisms, the plants, and that's what she ended up studying. So she studied biology. She became a vet doctor for animals, and she ended up being an environmentalist. So reflect on your own upbringing, chatting while you're growing up, and those are the moments where you can align, like alignment goal from the very young age. What are things you were always curious about? Personally, I like to just listen in when the adults are talking. Dia dir jamat or dir kuje ke jam. Panda. Well, I always about panda. Huh? By boy. I cannot imagine what it looked like, but as they talk about it, I can almost see it, what it is like to be in your own home. As a displaced person, I'm always curious about what it feels to be at home. And that's how I learn about home because I've never been there. So, what I'm going to say is just read, man. Courage Watch already said, or woman, go and read on the internet, whatever you're curious about, and those ideas will come to you at the moment when you had no idea. Like abajal from looking back, abajal think what really comes to you naturally, what are the things you are curious about, and they will lead to your purpose. So tell too long, but that's my U-turn message. Now tell in the comment, please. Where to be a caller, from all this conversation, from your reflection. We've had a few reflections from the participant, the regular young girls and young men been on the U-turn. I appreciate you. I always read the comments right after the show, and I learn a lot from you. So go ahead in the comment. What is the one U-turn message you've taken today? Ye message nyoko talerbi. Koila kanisa wetung balerbi mamukeni. What is your intention for the week, for the end of the day, for tomorrow, for until we have the next U-turn show? So Ian Bajapiutan, Rhoda, if you have any announcement, this is the time. Otherwise, I will wish you a lovely, lovely Saturday or Sunday, depending on where you are, and we'll see you again on the weekend. And we'll talk about the U-turn.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Announcement as always. If you are new to the U-turn, we welcome you. We celebrate you. We see you. Join our family. Now it's big. We call it a community of inspiring people that always want to learn and unlearn and relearn. That is our mission, and to also inspire change where possible. So thank you for being with us. We always do U-turn show every Saturday around this time. So watch the space and always share if this message resonate with you so that maybe someone within your network may benefit from it. So always share. You don't know you're attached by sharing. That's how you support this work, and that's also how you contribute to the larger picture. If not anything that you can do, just like and share. You have done your part. And then I also want to shout out to one person, not two people who shouted out to us. I woke up, this morning and I saw one of U10 mentors, Chola Jiang Agun, posted and say, U10 people, you are doing amazing work. And on behalf of the team, I say thank you, Jiang, for that. I remember reaching out to you as a mentor to a U10, one of our U10 team members, because we have silent mentorship. If someone reach out to us, they need a mentor, we find appropriate mentorship. So we just don't do the talking on this show, by the way. We mentor young folks because we need this transformative work that we are doing to continue and to continue in different form, in different way. So if you want a mentor, if you are a young person, you're still navigating your career, your life, and you need advice from me or Alakir or anyone from our network, just reach out and we will connect you. We have big, many mentors that are here to help, and you will be helped. So thank you for that. And then there's also our big sister, Maria Jajang. I watch shows, and she said that she aligned with the work we do, and we might collaborate in future because our messaging is one. So you might see her being spotlighted here in the next few times to come. So thank you all for always shouting out at us. For us, we'll call Ben Jutan Benoy. So your feedback into what encourage our fuel. So watch the space. And if you know someone be spotlight on our platform, then we nominate probably reach out and lo in our community where you ye in the community can work your leadership ye whatever that person is contributing and making change we learn from him or her so that we can grow collectively. So thank you. Stay tuned. Next Saturday, it will be a spotlight. We'll bring a leader to talk about their journey. So stay tuned.